And welcome back to On the Record. You know, we're discussing the decisions that MCK and the electoral officer had made. I still have reserve about the MCK making any statement or making any decision regarding the elections at all. I think that they're coming up for election. So rightfully, it should be Lindsay. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the election code is very clear that Lindsay, that the electoral officer is now in charge and responsible for anything to do with elections, not the MCK. And it's his decision whether to allow Keith to run or not the MCK. Mm-hmm. You know, and also the MCK should have remained silent on it unless, of course, because all of them are up for re-election. They're really it's a lame duck administration right now, and they really should have stayed out of it. They can have their own personal opinion, and they could have made a public statement, but they should have really had the community to back up that statement first. And I don't know how unified the councils. Maybe they are. You know, maybe the community might not be unified. Keith does have his supporters. You know, there are people who swear by Keith Maya, who will always vote for him and think he'd make a great, I guess, Grand Chief. You know. And they have a voice too, and they have a right to be heard, and a public meeting could have dealt with that.
What I also I found strange or out of the ordinary, or maybe just because Lindsay doesn't know what to do in this situation, and I don't think anybody would, because you haven't been in this situation. And one of the things that I'm referring to is that in the press release, it says that he's going to attempt to contact every candidate and attempt to gain their input in the situation. You're contacting people who are running in the election for their input onto what to do. As the Grand Chiefs or the individuals running for Grand Chief, they're the only ones that have something to gain or lose. The rest of them don't. I don't think that they should have an input as to, you know, whether or not the election should continue. It should be solely Lindsay's responsibility. He took on that responsibility, then he's got to deal with whatever is going to happen. And I think that, unfortunately, we're in this situation because some of the decisions or the direction that the council was taking. So,
there is an impact, though. If they go ahead with the election as planned without Keith, defying the court, will the Canadian government then recognize? Not recognize the election? Will they they won't recognize the Grand Chief part? Will the government recognize the 11 chiefs, or will the government not recognize the whole election here? If they just ignore the Grand Chief but recognize the 11 chiefs, then there is a vested interest in them, because then they will basically be Ganawaga's representatives to Canada without a Grand Chief.
So in the interim, do we have a community run by bureaucracy?
I would assume that so, but in Canada's eyes, let's not play the game. Let's not get caught too much in Canada's point of view. It should always be the people that's in charge, and the people should decide who's in charge, and not the Canadian government, and certainly not a federal judge.
And that brings me to a point or a question that I asked Keith. 30 years, the community's been asking for traditional government. I think that now it's a good possibility that we look really close into how that's going to work, if it'll work, and how that decision is going to be made by the community opposed to getting involved in this.
For traditional government to work, the people have to believe in traditional government, have to participate in it. And if you had a traditional government, you don't have the option of going to a federal court to overturn that. What would happen in a traditional government is that you would look at your brothers and sisters in other communities if you can't settle it within the clan and within the community, then you ask the other people and the rest of the Mohawk Nation to help settle your dispute, or if they can't, then the rest of the Confederacy to help settle a dispute. That's how it should work, you know, and not allow the Canadian government or entity of the Canadian government make that decision for you. That's in a broader traditional sense. But the way this is happening, this is really not the way you would really want to see it happen. I don't know if the people are now being pushed into the corner by what happened with Keith, whether the entire court system now is in jeopardy because of this decision.
I think it is.
And any decision of the court might be questioned because of this decision.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly gives ammunition to others, to anybody who wants to challenge the court. This decision gives them, well, that undermines the whole process. The system, the justice system in Kahnawake brought up the issue, why doesn't Kahnawake have its own constitution and stuff like that? Well, of course, those of us, we already have a constitution. So having another constitution is not really in our interest. Why create something that we already have? You know?
So that, I think that this is, it's crazy, to be in a situation now that the uncertainty of the future, the uncertainty of the present, the uncertainty of the elections. It's going to be a hot summer.
I really think that Keith should have been allowed to run in the first place. Regardless, like I say, Lindsay was stuck with the rules that he got with. It's understandable, mm-hmm. But he should have been allowed to run, and I don't think he had the horses to win to be Grand Chief. And if he would have lost, then that would have been the end of it.
I think I'm just speculating here, and I'm not a lawyer, but I think that Lindsay and the council's hands were tied because of the decision that they had made. If they would have let him run, he already has a court case pending, which would have automatically given him the ammunition to win that, because they allowed him to run. So that would have been, and then we would have continued till the next saga, whether or not they kept him in for his next term or whether he won or not. But I think that maybe people don't, I think that we're not looking at how to resolve the issue. We're looking at how to win the issue. And that's right. Where we are now.
And the MCK lost. Everybody was not everybody, but the electoral officer and the MCK and others were hoping that Keith would lose this injunction, and not just a few people, many people.
Yeah.
And I think many people in this community were surprised that he won, and of course, what did he win? And now we have this pretty awful. It's a very negative situation. There are not too many people cheering, really, at least in those that are involved in the elected system, cheering. There might be other people cheering and just laughing at the whole matter, and I think the outside might be laughing at us as well. But when it comes public, it hasn't been reached outside yet. But after this election happens on Saturday, and you have a Grand Chief without Keith Mile being put in the election, it's going to go public.